All right, welcome to Equipped, first strength training class of me coaching it for the new year. So we're gonna make sure we have a nice little 2021 theme. Maybe you got some new weights for Christmas and you want to break them in. We'll make sure to do that today. So what we have today, I do have two different weights, medium size weights, just because I'm not totally sure how I'll feel doing the movements. As always, feel free to adjust as needed during the day or during the workout, but medium size weight, just one of them, is all you really need today to get through. So we're going to start by mobilizing a little bit. We're actually going to do that on the ground. So we're going to lay on our side. Both hands are extended out in front of you. Knees are nice and tucked up like you're sitting in a chair. We're going to do some arm sweeps. So we're taking that top hand from me, it's that left hand, and we're going to make a nice big circle all the way up and around. So our arms end up 180 degrees across. We're pushing those knees into the ground, pushing both shoulders into the ground. All right, we're going to hold there for about a second or so. Then we're going to circle that arm all the way back up and around. Do that same thing again. Big reach, actively reaching as we're drawing that circle. Trying to create as much movement through that shoulder as possible. Hold for just a second, drive that shoulder down, drive those knees down, and circle back. We're going to do two more on this side. Big sweep. Again, actively reaching that arm is nice and straight. And bring it back. And one more time, just loosen up those shoulders. We'll be working with those quite a bit today. And bring it on back around. All right, so we're going to flip over to the other side. These guys out of the way. So whatever the other side looks like for you, it's going to be the same thing. Top hand, drawing a nice big circle all the way up and around. Nice little hold. And driving both of those knees into the ground, driving both of those shoulders into the ground, and bringing that back through. Try to keep as much of yourself on the ground as possible. And feel those shoulders work to loosen up. Breathing through this as well. We'll go one more time on this side. Really focus on that reach all the way across the top of that, still reaching away. And we'll bring that back around. All right. We're going to sit over into a nice little 90-90 stretch here. So both of those knees are going to be 90 degrees. All right. Our chest is turned over that front knee. We're going to get a nice little hinge going forward towards that front knee. Imagine that chest is reaching forward, not down the ground. But we are pushing that forward. Should feel a nice stretch through that glute. All right. We're going to release out of that. I'm just going to get a little hectic. So this front knee, we're then going to tuck behind us. All right. So now we are kind of in a open kneeling position. And we're going to lean into that lateral side. Feel those hips open up. Feel that ankle open up a little bit as well. We're going to pull out of that. We're going to go one more time into that same side. And then we're going to reset back into that 90-90. So again, 90 at the knees, 90 at the ankles. We're going to nice one more time hinge forward. Feel that glute. Breathe, relax through that. And pulling out. Tuck that knee up underneath. Staying tall and leaning into it. So again, my right knee is going forward. My left knee is going right to the left. So nice 90 degrees here. Hold there for a couple seconds. Pulling out of that. And then one more time hinging into that same side. And relax. Let's go ahead to the other side. Same little flow there. Promise we'll pick up that weight in just a minute. We got to make sure you're nice and prepped. So front knee, chest reaching out over that knee. And breathe in, relax. Let that glute relax. Any tightness in those hips relax. All right, remember that front knee is going to go behind us. That knee is out to the side, and we're just hinging, or we're just leaning into that knee. This lateral foot, the whole foot should be down on the ground. Those toes, that heel, relax out of that, take a breath. Make sure we're opened in those hips, and lean into that once more. And coming out of that. Back foot comes through. 90-90 once more. Easing ourselves forward. Breathe. As that starts to loosen up, let yourself fall into it a little bit deeper. And pulling out of that, tucking that knee behind, and hinging into that lateral kneeling stretch. Relax there. Re-engage that glute. Driving in. Test the flexibility of those hips and ankles right now. And relax. Alright. So this first move we're actually going to stay on the ground for. It's going to be what we call an arm bar. So whether you have a kettlebell or a dumbbell, either one is going to do just fine. What this is going to look like, I'm going to do it without the weight first. So we're going to get in on our backs here. We're going to press our weight up to the ceiling. This arm is then going to become rock solid. So those knuckles are going to go right to the ceiling. I know when we have those kettlebells, we tend to kind of hold it, kind of bend back in one direction or the other. But I want those flat parts of the knuckles going straight at the ceiling, so we have a nice, good, solid wrist. All right, our opposing side is then going to go out to the side, straight out. Then we're going to roll onto that side, keeping that arm pressed up. All right, so this is going to be our arm bar position, driving that straight up. I know without any weight, you're like, what is this? Once we put some weight up there, we're going to be working on stabilizing that shoulder a bit. All right, so then we're going to slowly rotate back and get back in that position, and then repeat. Okay, so we're going to do 6 on each side. So if you're not sure of what weight you need, you go ahead and grab something a little bit lighter, and we can certainly add more into that as necessary. I urge you not to go very heavy if you've never done this before, because it may be more deceiving than you think. So we're going to press that weight up, whichever weight looks like. Remember, top of those knuckles going straight towards the ceiling. Good, strong wrists. All right, get that arm out for support. And we're going to roll that onto the side. Getting those knees nice and tucked up. You should feel that weight wobbling up in the air a little bit. That's totally fine. We're going to work to stabilize that. And we're going to slowly roll ourselves back. That weight's going to stay punched up overhead. All right, one more time. Rolling over to that side. It's going to want to fight you. You got to fight it back. Punch those knuckles to the ceiling. Stabilize it. And roll it back down. Take a breath. That's 2 down. Back up. So notice I'm using that top leg to kind of press off a little bit, to kind of prompt that roll. That's totally fine. There's 3. So I'm breaking that left leg down, pushing through that right foot to get me into that roll. That way I just find myself a little bit more under control. And rolling back. Stabilize that. Coming back. I think that was 5. This one's going to be our last one. Stable, stable, stable. And rolling on back. I want to lower that kettlebell or dumbbell down to the side and drop it down. So I'm going to roll to the other side just so you can see me. But we're going to do that opposite arm, same situation. All right? We're going to punch that to the ceiling. We're going to make sure your knuckles are straight to the ceiling. That watch, if you have it, is out of the way. It's not getting smashed. All right, so put that arm out to the side. A nice, easy roll over. Find that stable position, punching straight up. Notice that elbow is fully extended. I'm not trying to do a half elbow here. I am fully extended. Those triceps are engaged. Roll it back over. number 2. So you can drop that head down or keep it up. Either way, I like to try to keep that spine nice and neutral, so my head will be floating up just a little bit. There's 3. You may find one side is a little bit easier, a little bit harder than the other. That is totally normal. Means you got some good stabilization on that shoulder. As soon as I say that, it's a little bit more wobbly. All right, we got 2 more on this side. Rolling over, big punch. So again, just hold until it's about stabilized. No predetermined amount of time to hold that in that full arm bar position. Just work to make sure that arm is pretty much stopped. It's wobbling back and forth. And we'll roll it back and we'll ease ourselves down. All right, so we're gonna hop it back up to our feet. We're gonna take that weight. We're gonna start with that weight in our non-dominant hand. Okay? We're gonna do some single leg reaches. So we're gonna work a little bit of stability in our hips and knees, at the same time alternating that with our stability in the shoulders with the arm bar. So in your non-dominant hand, your dominant leg is going to be on the ground or standing on that single leg. All right, so what we're going to do is that non-dominant leg, same leg that the weight is in, we're going to slide that out as far as you can, ideally keeping it up off the ground, and we're going to stand back up. All right, so that's all it's going to be, is we're going to reach and stand. There's 2. 3. Oof. I'm going to go 1 more. 4. We're going to keep it in that hand. Now we're going to slide that backwards and up. So we're going to slide back and up. Notice I'm not doing a full hinge. I'm not doing an RDL here. Think about more of a version of a lunge, where I'm bending that front knee and back up. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. So now it's in my dominant side. I'm going to slide that dominant foot out. What I want you to focus on is keeping that weight over that down foot. All right, try not to lean or kind of keeping that arm weighted. They kind of keep you towards the inside a bit, because we have a tendency to kind of overcompensate by just doing like this. I want you to focus on keeping that weight over that down foot. All right, and that kettlebell or that dumbbell on the inside here, we work to stabilize that knee. All right, so we're going to kind of counter where that kettlebell is by pushing that knee out to the side. Do it 4 there, and then we're going to slide back, straight back. So you can see my knee is going to want to try to cheat in a little bit. I'm going to counter that by keeping weight kind of pushing towards the outside of my knee, engaging those glutes for that stability. We got 1 more. And relax. All right, we'll go ahead and bring that down to the ground. We're going to go 1 more set through there with our arm bars and our reaches. So one thing I want to reinforce here, ideally we are in a single leg balanced stance. All right, we can touch that toe down for that stability if needed, but ideally we're trying to get that integral, stability through your hips and through your knees by that true single leg stance. Okay, so next time go through that, we're going to touch the ground less or touch the ground not at all, which is still less, but you know. All right, so whichever arm you would like to start out with, we'll go ahead and punch that up to the ceiling, knuckles up, get our arm out. Let's get a nice roll and stabilize. Second round, 6 for each side. It's either going to be a little bit easier or quite a bit more difficult if we're getting that fatigue a little bit, which is totally normal. But I want you to stay in control. Maybe you went too heavy on that first round Maybe you need to drop that weight down a little bit if you have it. All right, if it's just obnoxiously heavy, you can grab a nice household item with a few pounds on it. One more time this side. Good strong roll over, core still engaged, stable in that shoulder. Ease yourself back down. All right, I'm gonna drop that down, and we'll switch sides. All right. Punching that up. We're going to check those knuckles. Those are to the ceiling, yes. Elbows is extended. Triceps are contracted. And we're going to roll it over. Stabilize. And back down. Take a breath. Number 2. We'll make sure that we're still tucking those knees up. That's just putting a little bit more weight out front. Working to stabilize with that kettlebell. If that weight gets too far behind you, all right, go ahead and bring that weight down. Do not try to fight that more than your shoulder will allow you to. All right, we have 2 more to the side, which may be an extra rep, but that's fine. Now, one last one here. Keep those knuckles up, all the way up and over. Strong position, and back down. All right, so we're going to stand up to our feet. We're going to do those single leg reaches. Again, high priority in that single leg stance, in that balance stance, if we can manage. So I'm going to start with that non-dominant leg down. All right. So we're gonna get a nice, strong reach out and up. So we're gonna go 4 to the side, 4 to the back. Again, we're just looking for that chest to stay over the middle of that foot. Make sure we're not getting too far on the outside of that foot as we reach. Once you get 4 to the side, going 4 straight back. If you find your torso coming too far forward and that back leg is coming up, I want you to focus more on bending this front knee to lower us down, to stay close enough to the ground, to keep that foot, that back foot, right above. Shoulders are staying square, core still staying nice and tight. Last one. And we'll go ahead and switch sides. So nice drive out and up. Boom. And number 4, stable, stable, stable. Almost jinxed myself. And we'll go 4 to the back. Nice and easy. All right, making sure that down foot is staying engaged with the ground. That big toe, that little toe heel, all gripping the ground. And we'll do our 4th and final one there. And relax. All right, so nice and primed, ready to work out, right? So grab a sip of water if you have it. We're going to transition into a nice little AMRAP here. We got just over 5 minutes, which is great, which we'll squeeze in 2021, right? I said that earlier. So our rep scheme is going to be just as much. So we're going to have 20 kneeling rotational lifts and 21 kettlebell swings, okay? Let me show you these kneeling lifts. What we're going to do is in your half kneeling position. So different from the warm-up when we did an exaggerated kind of lateral kneeling position. We're going to be very straightforward on this one. Knees and toes and hips, shoulders all going straight forward. You're going to take your weight that's going to go in both hands. We're going to come from that down hip, all right? And we're going to imagine that we have a ball or something, and we're throwing that to the corner of the room right across our shoulders, Okay, so we're not throwing it forward, we're not necessarily throwing it backwards, we're throwing it right up in our line of our shoulder to the corner of the room. So what that's going to look like is from that hip, boom, from that hip up to that corner. Okay, so it's a nice little pull and push. Majority of that force is coming from those obliques in that rotation. So we'll do 10 on one side, we'll do 10 on the other for all 20, and then we'll stand it up and we'll pull and push into our kettlebell swings. Okay, sound good? We're gonna try to go back and forth. We're trying to get 2 quick rounds here of these movements. All right, so let's get down and get ready, test out those weights, and let's do it. You start on whichever side you would like to. From that hip, draw them up. 2. Make sure those arms getting fully extended. Make sure we have a good, strong start position, end position. Make sure we're not just doing any like Russian twists here. Make sure we are effortful in this drive. 8, 9, and I'll go ahead and switch sides. And stay strong with that grip. All right, from that hip, let's drive them across. Staying nice and tall here. Try not to fold on those reps. We got 8. And 10. Once you get those 10, you bring it to the feet. You're pulling and pushing 21. Good strong swings. If you have dumbbells, those you can do the same thing. 1 dumbbell in between the legs, or 2 dumbbells out to the side in your skier swings. Either way, getting those swings in. Looking for that hinge, drawing those hips back. All that weight is moving forward through those glutes and hamstrings. Think about driving that weight forward with those hips. Pull and push, pull, push, pull, push. Last 3. And good there. Then we're gonna drop back down. We got just enough time. 1 more round. We're going to go back to those rotational lifts. 10 on each side. 1 more round of swings, and we'll be out of here, all right? Nice and tall at the bottom. Full extend at that top, right? Throw that medicine ball into the corner. Keep those feet planted. Stay nice and tall. 2 more. Ooh, got a little too excited on that one. All right. 1 more on this opposing side. My hands are sweaty. Losing. Need some chalk. Two more. All right, let's get our last round of swings here. 21, finish up strong. Last little bit for today. Try to keep those shoulders relaxed. Just working on that hip hinge. We can take that weight out of it if we need to work on that hinge. Just down and back. Working on looking between those feet, throwing those hips at the wall. Finish up those last few reps. It's going to last 5, last 3, 2, 1 more, and time. All right. Give yourself a round of applause. You made it through first Wednesday Equipped of 2021.